Hi everybody, this is Steve Ludwig, host of Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture and the Beatles Hour with Steve Ludwig at planetludwig.com. Here's an interview we did with Jerry Samuels, a.k.a. Napoleon XIV. They're coming to take me away, haha. We did the interview on August 20th, 2013, show number 3. This is actually the first of 2 interviews we did with Jerry. To hear the entire show and cool songs and retro commercials, check out the menu at planetludwig.com. And now, please enjoy the interview.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. You thought it was a joke, and so you laughed. You laughed when I had said that losing you would make me flip my lid. Right? You know you laughed. I heard you laugh. You laughed, and then you left. But now you know I'm utterly mad. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. I cooked your food, I cleaned your house, and this is how you pay me back for all my kind, unselfish, loving deeds. Huh? Well, you just wait. They'll find you yet, and when they do, they'll put you in the ASPCA, you mangy mutt. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. To the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean...
And we are joined by the creator, the writer, the singer of that incredible They're Coming to Take Me Away, haha, Mr. Jerry Samuels. Jerry, thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Steve.
We may as well start at the beginning. How did that song come about in 30 words or less? Just kidding.
I was a recording engineer at a major demo studio in New York. We were doing commercials as well. And BBD&O was one of our accounts, and they were doing 60-second spots, mono spots, and they needed to time out at exactly 59 seconds, and sometimes if the take was a second or two long or short, they'd have to slow the tape down or speed the tape up just a hair to get it into the right time frame. And I looked at that device and I thought to myself, if that were connected to a multi-track machine, I could raise and lower the pitch without changing the tempo. That's what started it. That's what started the whole thing. And then I came up with the idea, and then we went ahead and did it.
Now, why Napoleon and why the 14th?
Well, once we did it, the drummer was a real friend of mine, and he was kind of a creative guy. And he said, I said, I don't want to use my name. I don't want to be stereotyped here. He said, well, why don't you call yourself Napoleon? I said, that's a funny name. Yes, all right, we'll do that. But our lawyer, our entertainment lawyer, he said, not just Napoleon. Call yourself Napoleon plus something else, anything else, because you can't trademark Napoleon, but you can trademark Napoleon something, hats, Napoleon something, shirts, Napoleon something, whatever. So pick something. And I picked XIV just because I liked it for no other reason. Napoleon XIV, Napoleon the 14th. And that's what we were able to go with.
It's just something as simple as that. Now, we're talking about 1966.
Right.
You know, I'll tell you, Jerry, before we go any further, I did get an email today from one of our listeners. His name is Lenny DeBrango. See if you agree with him. He said, even though it wasn't called that at the time, by definition, "They're Coming to Take Me Away, Haha" was probably the first rap song. What do you think about that?
As a matter of fact, it's been called the original rap record in many times, many times, by many different disc jockeys. I'm flattered. I didn't mean it to be that way, but I guess perhaps it is. It's not a song. It wasn't copyrighted as a song. It couldn't be because there was no melody and no harmony. It's a recitation, and so it had to be copyrighted as a lecture designed for oral delivery, which it was.
Now, how did you come up with the whole "They're Coming to Take Me Away to a Mental Hospital" idea?
Well, that's what that was the original concept. You know, it was a story about a guy whose girl left him, and he's going out of his mind, and they're coming to take me. It was very controversial. It was banned after about 4 weeks. Nobody wanted to play it anymore because people of respect, like Cardinal Spellman, I hear in New York, he called the stations and or his secretary called the stations. Don't play that lousy rap. I had another situation where we were supposed to get a card, one of these soundbite cards for Halloween. American Greetings was going to do one, and then they changed their CEO, and the new CEO said, "No way, you're not going to put that on our card."
They should have taken him away, Jerry. Let's see.
Well, you know, I say lighten up a little bit, fellas.
Oh, really? I mean, it's so obviously just for fun. If I could share a quick story with you, I remember in 1966, I'm sitting in the back seat. My mom and dad are driving the car. We're listening to WMCA, a radio station back here in New York, and they're doing the countdown, and they get to number 4. And number 4, "They're Coming to Take Me Away, Haha" by Napoleon XIV. And now number 5, they didn't even play a song.
Right, exactly.
And
they would announce it, but they wouldn't play it.
Unbelievable.
That's what happened.
Did you
That's
personally?
what happened.
I'm sorry. Did you personally get hate mail or things like that? I would hope not. But did you?
I never got hate mail. I got some hate calls, hate telephone calls, but nothing serious.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. You know, our engineer Rick, Jerry, he's a few years younger than you and I. I don't know about you, but as I go down in the years, just about everybody's younger than I am. But Rick, why don't you share with Jerry?
Well, first of all, I'm 75 years old.
Wow, wow, my goodness, God bless you.
Thank you.
I've seen your picture, and just talking to you, you don't sound anywhere near 75.
Oh, yeah, I'm 75.
Wow, 75 years young.
I feel fine. You know, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, Rick, why don't you tell
Yes,
Jerry
well,
about your little
several weeks ago when he was telling me that you were coming on the show, and he's like, he's coming to take me away, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was the funniest thing because I didn't firstly know that Steve was going to have you on the show, but for years I had that as my ringtone on my phone.
Oh, really? I never could find that. I'm trying to get one of them on my phone, and I can't get it.
I don't know. I don't know if it's still. I got it off of iTunes, but I don't know if it's still there or not. But I paid for it. And it was on my
they
phone
probably
for years.
have it. They have everything.
There you go.
But I mean, to show you, Jerry, how far-reaching your song is, it does cross generations. I don't think there's anybody that if you played that song to them today, no matter what the age, wouldn't have said, "Oh yeah, I know that song."
Most people seem to still know it. It's amazing. It's really amazing. It was back down in 1966, so it was almost 50 years ago, and still people remember it. I recently did a charity event with Al Yankovic, and he was telling me that his 10-year-old daughter, that's her favorite record.
Oh, you know, there's an interesting story, Jerry. If you can share with us about getting the clapping sound on the record.
Oh, sure.
That's it.
All right. I had to use the studio. The studio was available to me at no charge, as long as clients weren't using it, as long as paid clients weren't using it. So I had to book it at 1 o'clock in the morning to do some of the things I needed done. And I needed the hand clappers for the Coming to Take Me Away. I needed a group of hand clappers. Well, I invited a bunch of friends of mine, and only 2 other people showed up at 1 in the morning. 2 guys plus me. I said, all right, look, there are only 3 of us. That's not a lot of hand clappers. I could overdub, But that's back in the 60s now. There's only one way to do it, by a tape, and that was analog. And overdubbing means adding what's called the noise, the background noise, the tape hiss and everything. Every time you overdub, you increase that.
Uh-huh.
So I said, instead of clapping our hands, what we can do to increase the sound is to slap our thighs. But you must slap skin. You can't slap your pants because it muffles the slap. It's not the same. So what we want to do is sit in a semicircle and drop our pants and slap our thighs, and that'll give us twice the sound of slap. And they wouldn't do it.
I don't know, Jerry.
They would not do it. We had to overdub several times to get the 9 hand clappers. We did 3 overdubs. 2 overdubs in the original. Now, when we did They're Coming to Get Me Again, which was a follow-up many, many years later, we had a studio filled with people, men and women, with their pants down, slapping their thighs for that record.
And you almost started rolling the tape, I bet. No, just kidding. Just to get to the drop.
Yeah, that was quite a story. It was very
Why do I feel that's appropriate for people to be sitting in a circle with their pants down while they're doing this song? Anyway. Now, I'll tell you, our listeners, you and I had the pleasure of speaking with you on the phone a little while ago, Jerry, and our listeners, some of them I'm sure are aware, but 2 years before They're Coming to Take Me Away, you wrote and Sammy Davis Jr. recorded a beautiful, beautiful song of yours. Why don't you tell us about that? Talk about a contrast.
Well, I had written quite a few songs before that, but this is the first one that we actually published ourselves. I thought it was a strong song, and I wanted to go with it. And I wrote it. I played it for a friend of mine who was a record promoter in New York who had a connection with a gentleman named Mo Austin, who was a major executive at Reprise Records, and he sent it to him. And Mo said, "Let's do it with Sammy." It was that simple, and they did it. They recorded it, and it was a hit. It was a hit. Sammy, "The Shelter of Your Arms."
It's such a great song. He actually used it for his.
It's a good song. Years later, my partner and owner of the studio, co-owner of the studio, asked me to rewrite it for business reasons, and I did. The melody is the same on the new version, which we'll talk about later.
Right.
But the lyric is totally unique and a quantum leap above the original. I think you'll find that when we do present it here. Well, but the "Shelter of Your Arms" was a big hit for Sammy, and it was very good for my career.
Well, why don't we listen to the original by Sammy Davis Jr. right now, and then we'll talk about the new lyrics after it.
Okay. All right.
"Shelter
Fine.
of Your Arms."
In this cold world, no matter where I go, the crowds are all the same. To them I'm just a pebble in the sand, a face without a name. Nobody gives a hang for what I say or do, but you, and in the shelter of your arms, I find peace and comfort and care, for I am wanted there. In this cold world, I struggle to survive, and sometimes I would fall. You think someone would lend a helping hand, they'd sooner see me crawl. But just when life itself seems more than I can bear, you're there, and in the shelter of your arms, I find strength and safety, and then I rise and start again. Just give me one good reason to go on living, to keep on trying for what if not for you and all your love to see me through. When times look bad, the shelter of your arms will keep away each fear. And this cold world can never get me down as long as you are near. That's why I pray to God you'll never say goodbye, and I will know the shelter of your arms and your love through all of my life, until the day I die.
The Shelter of Your Arms. Now, Jerry, that is a beautiful song, as only the great Sammy Davis Jr. can do it. Talk about a contrast between They're Coming to Take Me Away and The Shelter of Your Arms.
Let me tell you a quick story.
Yeah, please.
I knew very well a gentleman named Irwin Drake. Irwin has passed on now. Wonderful writer. He wrote the show What Makes Sammy Run that starred Steve Lawrence. He wrote It Was a Very Good Year, and he wrote I Believe. And when I did They're Coming to Take Me Away, Irwin was up in the studio, and he said, Jerry, people are going to say, how could you write a song like The Shelter of Your Arms and then turn around and write something so completely different like They're Coming to Take Me Away? He said, they said it with me. I wrote I Believe. And then I wrote a song that Milton Berle recorded called I Wove a Wabbit. So they said to me, how could I possibly write I Believe and I Wove a Wabbit? And the answer is the same for me as it is for you. If you're a writer, you can write anything. Just channel yourself. And you know what? He was absolutely right. You can write anything. If you write, you can write anything you want. So it really isn't so far away from each other.
Yeah.
That's the fact that I was able to write both.
Now, you, like we were saying before before we listened to The Shelter of Your Arms, you have a completely new set of lyrics for a song In the Shelter of Your Arms. Now, it's not recorded yet. Could I please have you recite the lyrics for us and tell us a little bit about
First
the
of all,
song?
the melody is the same as the original. The only thing is that the treatment is totally different. The original was more like a staccato feel. This is a lilting, haunting feel for the melody, and the lyric is totally different. I wrote this because my partner and mentor, who was the co-owner of the studio, asked me to rewrite it. So in the about 1990 or so, I did rewrite it, and this is In the Shelter of Your Arms. I think you'll find that this is, I think, a quantum leap beyond the original. This is called In the Shelter of Your Arms. This is the lyric to the same melody. Through these hard times of endless shattered dreams and visions so unclear, as wells run dry and pillars turn to sand against a tide of fear, each day we struggle just to bear it all again. But when I'm in the shelter of your arms and I feel the oneness with you, then I am born anew. At every turn, the long-forsaken signs now mock what once was there. Upon each face are unmistaken lines engraved with deep despair. Yet if I know, no matter where the path may wind, I'll find the waiting shelter of your arms, like a fortress beckoning wide. Then I'm secure inside. I see my world protected, my course corrected, my faith reflected in you. And only with you to lean upon do I gain strength to carry on. Your love is like a ray of hope that glimmers in a blinding storm. The shining light, the beacon bright I follow to the safe and warm. And so with all my heart, through each and every day, I'll pray that in the shelter of your arms, I will now and evermore be, through time, eternally.
It's beautiful.
Thank
That
you.
is really beautiful, Jerry.
Thank you.
Are we going to hear that a recording of that someday?
Hopefully, someday, who knows?
Oh my
When
goodness!
the market turns around from hip-hop again. I don't know.
You know what, Jerry? No, there's always. I think there's always a market for beautiful lyrics. Like
It's
this.
very difficult to get something like that done these days. Very, very difficult.
You would know much better than I would, I'm sure.
Right.
Now, while we're in the mood, you sent me, my goodness, such a beautiful, beautiful poem, Blessings and Burdens. Could I...
Blessings and Burdens was originally written as a song, but I felt it worked better as a poem. I had the pleasure of writing that in a monastery in Clinton, Iowa. Some friends of ours actually were squatting in this monastery that was deserted by Redemptorist monks, and so we took it over for a while, and I was fortunate to spend a couple of weeks in the chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote several songs there, but two of them turned out very well. One of them is on the Napoleon album of The Second Coming, and that is called Iowa Lot to Iowa Pot. That was
song.
written in Iowa. And that's a very popular song. It's an underground hit. A lot of bands play it in Iowa clubs. It's cute. But Blessings and Burdens, which was written right after Iowa Pot, was, to me, I have to tell you something. That song didn't come from me. It came through me. That poem didn't come from me. It really came through me. I was completely inspired by the chapel, by the surroundings, and I was fortunate enough to write Blessings and Burdens. I think that it's one of the best things I've ever written lyrically.
We'd love to hear
maybe
it.
not the best, but one of the best, certainly. And if you'd like, I'll read it to you.
We'd love you to. Thank you.
All right. In all things to be had are the good and the bad. That's the balance of heaven and hell. And so our blessings are also our burdens. Listen and learn them well. Life is a blessing, but life is a burden. We get pretty much what we give. We grin some, we pout some, we're in some and out some. We win some, we lose some, we live. Love is a blessing, but love is a burden. It shimmers, it simmers, it seethes. It settles, then phases. It calms, then it crazes. It quenches, it blazes, it breathes. Children are blessings, but children are burdens. A fact irrefutably true. They're laughing, then grieving. They're loving, then leaving. They're dearlings. They're yearlings. They're you. Death is a blessing, but death is a burden. We hurt, but it's so hard to die. We're clutching for power, a minute, an hour. We tremble. We cower. We cry. Yes, the good and the bad, in all things to be had, are as one as the sun and the rain, and so our blessings are also our burdens, mixtures of joy and pain. But in pain there is growth, and in growth there is strength. So in truth it is all for the best. For if our blessings are also our burdens, then all of our burdens are blessed.
Oh boy, beautiful! It really. There's so many lines that stand out here. It's beautiful, Jerry. First of all,
Thank you.
a line here: "We hurt, but it's so hard to die." I think so many of us that have been around for a few years have experienced that with family and friends. And boy, death is a blessing, but death is a burden. We hurt,
Yep.
but it's so hard to die. Boy, that says so much in
I'm
those
telling
two
you,
lines.
this poem did not come from me. It came through me, and I'm not particularly religious. I'm sorry to have to say. My wife is, but I'm not. But I have to tell you, I don't believe I'm smart enough or deep enough to have been able to do this without some sort of outside interference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could have done that without something. I was in a chapel. I don't think I could have done it if I wasn't in a chapel.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it in the chapel.
It's called Blessings and Burdens. What year is this, Jerry, about that you wrote this?
Well, it was in the early 70s. I'd say it was 1971 or 2, right in that area.
And you know, I have to say, your recitation of both, of In the Shelter of Your Arms and Blessings and Burdens, was just beautiful.
Thank you.
It was a real treat to hear it. Now, you know, Jerry, you mentioned your wife.
Bobby.
You recently recorded a nice song for her. Want to tell us about that one?
We've been married now going on 17 years. It is a wonderful, wonderful marriage. We are totally committed to each other, and we adore each other. It's a wonderful thing. But it wasn't always. It wasn't. It took 13 years before it kicked in. The first 13 years were very difficult. We had a very rocky, stormy marriage. As a matter of fact, the Philadelphia Inquirer did an article on it because it was so unique, and we let them do it because we wanted to see if hopefully it would inspire other people to work it out. We stuck it out.
May I interrupt 1 second, Jerry? How did the Philadelphia Inquirer find out about this?
They did an article on me several years earlier, and I spoke to Bobby about it. I said, look, this thing can really help other people if they know about it. And I know it's airing our dirty laundry in public, but frankly, if it can help other people, it's worth it. And I called the writer that did the story on me, and I said, I think you'd like to listen to this and decide if you want to do it. And they did. They decided to do a complete article on it with pictures and everything. And so that's how it got into the Inquirer.
That was quite brave of you, too, and quite kind to share your story with other people.
We felt that it should be done. It was the right thing to do. And once it kicked in, though, we really it became a storybook marriage. It's a marvelous thing. And at that point, shortly after that, Bobby started to say to me, when will you write a song for us or for me, and would you please write a song for me? And well, frankly, I would do anything Bobby wanted. I mean, whatever she wants, if I can do it, I'm going to do it. And I had the capacity to do it, and I did it. I wrote Bobby's song, and I think it turned out to be one of the most poignant, if not the most poignant song I have ever written. And she loves it. I played it for Al Yankovic when he was in town when we did and it brought him to tears. So did Bouncing Bobby Brigg, by the way. He asked for a copy of it.
Okay. Well, I think this is the perfect time to listen to Bobby's song. So, Rick, if you could play that for us.
As we approach our golden, permit me, please, to quell your fears, honestly, sincerely, cherishing you dearly. Ever since I've known you, I'm compelled to say, you become more beautiful each day. Isn't it amazing, passing through our prime, how you've grown more beautiful with time? So many men were reaching for your hand. Your choosing mine was hard to understand. I offered you a simple life, not free of strife, but as my wife, I would spend forever gazed upon your face, marbled by the rapture you embrace. Maybe I will always wonder why and how, but ever since I've known you, and long as I have loved you, you've never been more beautiful. You've never been more beautiful than now.
Bobby's Song by Jerry Samuels. Jerry, I mean,
Yes.
you've got that another beautiful song. I was mentioning to you while the song was playing. We were talking between ourselves, and I don't mean it the way that it's going to sound, but I think people just think of you as this wacky guy who did "They're Coming to Take Me Away," haha, and that's it. But that is such a small part of your musical output and your writing. I mean, I'm so glad people are getting to see this side of you. Now, this was a gift to your wife, Bobby, correct?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I didn't just write the song for her. I actually wrote the song and gave it to her, lock, stock, and barrel. Totally. She owns the copyright. She owns the copyright. It's Bobby's song. Nobody could own it but Bobby. It wouldn't be right for anyone to own it but Bobby. Bobby, she wanted this song. She expressed the emotion. You know, she says, "Oh, I'm getting old, and I'm not looking the same anymore." And I said to her, "You look at least as beautiful as I've ever known you, and perhaps even more so." And that occurred to me that should be the basis for the song. You've never been more beautiful than now. That's the way I see Bobby. That's not a fictitious thing at all. I really feel, and she knows I'm sincere about that. She knows that. She's 70 years old now, and she's never been more beautiful. Never.
Oh, that's so nice.
Every day she's more beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing. We really adore each other.
Good. I'm so happy for the two of you after having come.
Thank you.
Now, you were telling me also about a song that Weird Al Yankovic, who Weird definitely belongs in quotation marks. You know him as a friend. Tell us about the song that we were just talking about before hearing Bobby's song.
Well, I played him two songs. Bobby wanted me to play him her song. We did a charity event here in Philadelphia on September 9th. And at the end of it, there was a piano in the... June 9th, I'm sorry. June 9th. I was wrong. June 9th. And there was a piano in the room, and I said to Al, "Bobby, wants me to play her song for you, and would you listen?" And he said, "Certainly." So I took him over to the piano, and I played him Bobby's song. I played and sung it for him. And he looked at me afterwards, and there were tears in his eyes. He said, "That is beautiful, beautiful." And then I said, "Would you like to hear Bouncin' Bobby Brigg?" I talked to him about Bouncin' Bobby Brigg in advance of this. He said, "I'd love to." I wrote Bouncin' Bobby Brigg over 40 years ago, in the late 60s, 69 or so, around there, 70 perhaps. I don't remember exactly. I have it written down somewhere, but I don't remember. And when I showed it around to some people, they said that, well, there are a couple of lines in that song that you have to remove. You can't sing getting high and getting laid, and you can't sing a nickel bag of grass. You change those lines, and maybe we'll do it for you. And I said, "When pigs fly."
Mm-hmm. Good for you. No, good for you.
The song is right. Every line in it belongs in it. There's not a question of a doubt. I love Bouncin' Bobby Brigg. He's a real person. He's a friend of mine. He still is. And he was very young at the time. He must have been about 16 years old when I wrote it for him, or 17 or 18, in that area. And yeah, that's right. And basically it's the story of his life at that time. It's a bit embellished, but basically his life is the model for that song.
I think that's I think that's a perfect
and
lead-in.
he said I could play it for anyone I wanted as long as he wasn't around.
He's not in.
But then,
he's not there with
when
you,
I
is he,
started,
Gary?
when I started to play it for people, there was a woman who came up to me in a club that I was playing. She said, "I'd love to meet him," and I told him about it. And ever since then, he'd come down to the club where I was playing at, and he'd look around and he'd ask me to play it, and he'd say to people, "Hey, that's me, that's me." Bouncing Bobby Brigg is a good song. It's
I
a
think
really
it's
good
time.
song.
I think it's about time we listen to it. Okay, Rick?
Sure.
Bouncing Bobby Brigg is as fat as Patty's pig. A strapping boy who swells from limb to limb. But there isn't any part half as big as Bobby's heart. And charity flows naturally from him. Timid as a mouse, with a body like a house. He never had a girl who wasn't paid. So he tends his father's store 6 a week from 8 to 4, and lives for getting high and getting laid. Every Saturday after work he takes his pay and hides it in the lining of his shoe. Then he polishes and cleans his old second-hand machine. He keeps that car so fine, it looks like new. He bathes his sweaty skin, and he shaves his stubby chin, and splashes cheap cologne upon his face. Then he stops in town for gas and a nickel bag of grass, and sets out on a sad and lonely chase. As soon as it gets dark, old Bobby, he just drives around the park and honks at all the hookers dressed in style. But he won't so much as frown, even when they put him down. You see, he always has a thank you and a smile. He never sheds a tear when another soul is near. He's so afraid he'll make someone uptight. But he buries his big head in the pillow on his bed and cries himself to sleep most every night. Bouncing Bobby Brigg is as fat as Patty's pig. A strapping boy who swells from limb to limb. But there isn't any part half as big as Bobby's heart. And charity flows naturally from him. Yes, charity flows naturally from him.
Okay. Bouncing Bobby Briggs. Jerry, I know I sound like a broken record, pun intended, but another really, really beautiful song. But
Thank you.
just so our audience doesn't get the wrong idea about you, first of all, I can't believe we've been speaking for almost 45 minutes, at least 40 minutes. But before I go to this last segment, would you please come back on sometime? There's so much more I'd like to talk to you about.
It would be a pleasure for me to do so. I would be honored.
Well, the pleasure and the honor is mine, believe me. But I thank you for that. And listeners, that's great news. Jerry will be back. But just so our listeners don't think you've left us with the Napoleon XIV type of thing, you actually told me that there's a song called The Explorer that you are most
These are not
proud of.
songs. These are recitations.
Yes,
They're coming
again,
to take me away. It's not a song.
Yep, I made the mistake again. You're right.
Right.
Thanks for the correction. But The Explorer is what you are probably most proud of. Tell us about that.
Oh, there's no question. It is my crowning achievement as a record producer. The Explorer is why I did the Second Coming CD. I did it to get that record out. I couldn't get it released. Nobody would touch it. Now, let me just explain this because it's an interesting story, a very interesting story. The Explorer, which we're going to hear, is an audio comedic study in masturbation. It's very, very funny. But nobody would touch it. When I recorded it, no record company would touch it. And I never could understand that because all I did was depict in a comedy format on record something that each and every single bloody one of us does. We all choke our chickens, flog our bishops, spank our monkeys, wax our carrots, and hug our hoses. And you women, you do the two-finger twiddle. What the heck are you afraid of?
Oh, my
Nobody would touch that record, and yet it is the most creative record I've ever made. It's funny every time you hear it. I don't care how often you play it, you got to laugh. The Explorer.
And we're going to listen to The Explorer. And, Jerry, I think I'll leave you with these words. We'll talk to you again. But as we listen to The Explorer, I guess in the feeling of this song, thank you for coming on the show, Jerry.
Thank you for having me.
It's getting dark. I hope I find my way back to camp before sunset. I'd be afraid to be out here alone at night in this jungle paradise. Uh-oh. What was that? Who the hell could that be? Who's that? Who's that? Oh, no! Oh, God! No! Oh, my God! Oh, don't do that! Oh, you're ripping the clothes! Oh, don't do that! Oh, my! Don't do that! Oh, God! Oh, you're hurting! Oh, are you hurting?
What do you think I'm doing?